On today's episode of Scary Stories, I will cover a scary story that was actually coming from my mother. Okay? So a little bit of a backstory. My mother lived in England when she was younger because that's where my grandmother was from. So when she was young, she stayed there and she was playing in her room. Now, as we all know, England is very well known for its scary stories and its old history. So, being that my mother, born in the 60s, told me this story, and researching into this story a little bit, it kind of gave me goosebumps because I'm finding out things I didn't know, and giving credibility to what my mother said because I didn't know exactly. I was from the 90s. So I didn't have the tools and things that I can use now for internet and searching things up and actually looking up and seeing, what she was talking about. So getting into this story, let's get started. So the story is that my mother was about 5 years old and she was staying in England. My grandmother was from England and my grandfather was from Louisiana. So he was stationed in England and they were staying there for some time. So my mother was playing in my grandmother's room, for what she says, and she was playing, I guess, in her jewelry and stuff, like little girls do. And she heard somebody calling her name. So she comes and she peeks out the doorway and she hears somebody calling, and she told me she thought it was like one of my grandmother's friends, because people back then used to just pop in and be like, hey, and talking and stuff. So, she thought it was one of them, one of my grandmother's friends. So she just kind of peeks around and she keeps hearing this name calling her, this voice calling her. So she starts walking down the hallway because she's trying to see where this person's coming from. And she gets towards near the end of the stairs. And she knows that this voice is very, very close. She can tell that it's like right up on her, but she's looking around and she don't see anybody. And she's looking down the staircase and she's looking around, she don't see anybody. But she knows this voice is right up on her. And something tells her, look up. So she turns her face to turn around and look up behind her to see where this voice was coming from. And lo and behold, right above her is this painting. And this is where the voice is coming from. And upon doing my research and looking more into this specific painting, let's get into it. So upon doing research, I find out the Blue Boy that my mother always told me about did in fact exist, was made by Thomas Gainsborough in 1770. And this was where she seen when she turned around. The Blue Boy. This was the painting she always told us about, was talking to her. And this was where the voice was coming from. And she looked up and it said, little girl, what are you doing, little girl? And just talking to her, and his eyes were moving back and forth, and looking at this fucking painting is already giving me the fucking creeps. I don't know about y'all, but this painting already gives me the fucking creeps, okay? It does look like some shit that would be possessed by something, or of some lower frequency that would painted. I don't know, it's just fucking creepy, okay? I'm imagining this as she's telling me because I've heard this story a million times. So after hearing that and knowing that this was the thing that was calling to her down the hallway, hello, little girl, what are you doing, little girl? And his eyes moving back and forth, talking to her. And my mom got the fuck out of there expeditiously. She ran down that staircase as fast as she could, and she told my grandmother, and my grandmother burned that motherfucker, I'm sure. She did something, she got rid of it, let's just put it that way. She got rid of this creepy ass painting that was in the house of the Blue Boy. And this is the Blue Boy. And after hearing this story for so many years and finally seeing which the fuck she was talking about. I understand why the fuck. Mom, wherever you at in heaven, I understand why this fucking thing was giving you the creeps and it was talking to you. This thing is fucking creepy. So this was the blue boy. This was the blue boy that was talking to my mother. And calling to her. There's some creepy stuff in this world. And this is my ghost story and concludes my mother's ghost story. Rest in peace, Mother. And her story of the blue boy and her interaction that she had with him at 5 years old, speaking to her. So you guys have a great day, and hope you enjoyed my little ghost story. There will be more where this came from, and you guys have a great night.